Hi everybody, welcome to Live.
Hi.
Glad you could join us, whoever's here, glad you could join us. Today we're talking about surrendering, not holding on to the stress and the anxiousness and other things of waiting for something to happen or thinking about things that really didn't go the way you wanted them to. And when you surrender, it doesn't mean that you're giving up. It means that you're just allowing yourself to kind of go with the way things are going, and there's a knowing that you should have by now, and I know that we do. There's a knowing that you should have that God really does take care of and give us everything that we need. It may not necessarily be, like we said, the way we want it to look, but you don't always get what you want. You get what you need, and
I'm not necessarily sure that everybody knows that God really wants you to be happy.
right.
I've just heard it so many times from different people, kind of that victim.
Because so many people grow up, and I'm not bashing church or anything,
Right.
but and listen, I was raised Catholic, but I wasn't forced to go to church or go to catechism, but I learned the Bible and I learned scripture through my field, through the herbs, through the oils, through the crystals. I mean, it's all in the Bible. That's how I got my scripture teaching, and I really do believe I have a very deep understanding of it because of the way I've learned it. It wasn't forced on me. And I find that my friends and even people that come in here, they'll really walk in and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm Catholic, and
Yeah.
why are you sorry? Why are you afraid of God? If God is so good, why would he want anybody to hurt or be in pain? Things happen always for a reason. And if you go back and look, and I think I said this last week, about, in retrospect, looking at all the things that you've come through, how do you think you came through all those things that you thought were going to beat you down? I know in my personal life, and those of you that know me personally, I've come through a barrage of things, and I've never let anything hold me down. I've never let anything hold me back. I've never really let anything hold me back from speaking my truth and care about somebody's going to get upset if they hear that. Well, too bad. If it's the truth, then say it. Say it.
Yeah.
Surrender your feelings. Surrender what you feel to be true.
Yeah.
And be happy with the choices that you make. And don't make it depend on somebody else. But this God we all talk about, he's a good God. I mean, look at all that he gave us. We have a really good world to live in. And if you don't look at the media, we really do get everything we need just at that last minute when we need it. But it really comes down to having faith, and we say it all the time, let go and let God.
Yeah.
Because if you surrender your feelings and your perceptions of things, and you just say, this is just too much for me to handle, please take this from me. I'm telling you, it is amazing how quickly things pass.
Yeah.
And things get better, and you see a new light, you see a new way of living and doing things, and you do find happiness. And the happiness isn't out here, it's in here, and it's being at peace with yourself. Hi, Anne-Marie. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you.
Anne-Marie, when you're in town, you should come up here and join our studio audience. It'd be fun to have you.
We would
or
love
anyone.
that.
Yeah, really.
Please
I
know
know
that we're
Anne-Marie
live.
lives in town, so.
And there's lots of space here for people to sit, and we would love for you to be here, asking questions and things.
Yeah.
But so think of a situation that really, really stifled you.
Yeah.
It could be anything. Today, I saw on Facebook a friend of mine, she said, what do you do when your loved one tells you you have cancer? They have cancer. And you have to be strong. Lots of people survive cancer. It doesn't have to be a death sentence.
Right.
In my experience and in my my own dealing with this, I have really come to believe that those that survive really had the will to survive
And believe.
and the support
Yeah.
to survive. Somebody has cancer, the last thing you want to do is throw guilt,
Yeah.
shame, manipulation, and these kinds of things, which, you know, unfortunately in some cases that's the case. But if you help them to find their inner strength and what caused the feelings that caused this and the feelings they may be dealing with, maybe it's the best thing to tell them to just surrender and ask God to point the way, or ask Spirit to work through you and guide you. There's plenty of times, I'm sure that you can relate, where you've been talking to somebody about something and all of a sudden you give them this advice and you're not even sure where it came from. Well, be sure it came from Spirit. Your guides are always there. You have more help than you really think you do. My sister-in-law Diane, may she rest in peace, used to say, God never gives you more than you can handle. And I remember that from her. And my kids remember her always saying that. And she was right. He really doesn't.
Yeah, I have been really utilizing my walk time in the morning.
Hyla.
In like listening to either TED Talks or actually at this point I go on YouTube as I start walking and I'm like, whatever the message is supposed to be today, let it be.
Yeah.
And it's like roulette. It's like whatever is there, and it's, you know, it goes to suggestions because this is the kind of stuff I listen to.
Yes.
And I've had some really great messages, and frankly, when you texted me this morning, I was at the end of that, and I was like, it was right along that message of not resisting. That's what I was listening to this morning. And some of it is also about, like, we want to control everything. Right? And so we're like, okay, I want this to happen, this is going to be, and this is this. And part of the message was this morning about surrendering to that.
Yes.
Like, you know, whatever, like, your will be done. So however you subscribe to that spiritual realm is, you know, that communication that you're having is like, these are the things, you know, and God and in the universe and source, whatever, however you address, does want you to be happy. This is not, you're not here to live a miserable life.
No,
Even
you're
though
here to
people come
learn.
and think that, though.
You're really here to learn.
To learn your lesson. You have a lesson.
Your lessons, but your lessons bring you to peace and understanding.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, about one of the videos we did was about understanding the experiences in your life.
Yeah.
Everything is a lesson. Everything is a lesson. Family, parents, siblings, friends, friends of friends, whatever.
Spouses.
Stop trying to control everything, and especially stop trying to control other people's lives. Because what I see around me with people who just are set on controlling everybody's life makes themselves and everybody around them miserable. And I really feel bad for the ones that see it and do nothing about it.
Yeah.
If you can't be your own person, make your own choices, make your own decisions, because you're worried about what somebody else is going to think or say. Take a look at those people. Are they happy in their life? Are they really happy in their life? Or are they those negative people that you're afraid what they're going to say about you? Get real. Really. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yep. I was listening to something last night about my son has a learning, well, he's dyslexic, whatever the word is, right? And so
Hi, Steve. Hi, Christine.
I have always tried to teach him that this is not, it's something to like overcome. Something, it's not a crutch. It's not, you're not a victim. He's got like many other talents because of it. And I was trying to show him a video last night. And he's a teenager, so he really, says I'm hippie anyway. So he doesn't subscribe to any of this. But he's very intuitive, so it's always an interesting conversation. But I wanted him to hear this one thing. It was about, that you can find solutions to anything that's going on. And this particular woman was born with like mental blocks, for real. And so it was a video about her own life's journey where she was like almost crippled as a child, learning and everything, and then learned how to overcome that, and saw examples and used stimulation to be able to close the gaps that she had in her learning. And it's something I've always believed as far as the dyslexia went, and I did find a lot of different ways to go around it.
Right.
But like she started out at 8th grade, almost got like suicidal over it because she just didn't know how she can go on.
Right.
And then her dad, who was an inventor, said, you're here to find solutions and like to keep looking. And it was like a miracle in of itself that she was able to bridge those gaps for herself. And she's a genius, and she's doing a TED Talk.
Right.
And so rather than, she didn't, at a certain point, she learned not to resist it and learn to learn around it.
Well, look at Helen Keller, the story of
Perfect
Helen Keller.
example, yes.
Look at Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
So he couldn't see through these eyes,
Mhm.
but look at the impact
Yeah.
on every single person on this earth
Yeah.
with his music and his beautiful songs and his beautiful messages. Anybody can overcome anything. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody can overcome anything. But if you're at battle inside, what's your life going to be like on the outside?
Yeah.
What's your life going to be on the outside? And, we don't mean to sound like holy rollers here, but it's like when it's time to ask God for some help, ask Him.
Yeah.
Ask Him for guidance. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. And of all lessons, you're going to definitely learn patience. And if you haven't learned patience by now, that's on you. I mean, that's really on you, because most of our lessons are for those lower vibrational feelings and thoughts that we have, which are impatience, unforgiveness, anger, shame, guilt. All these things they all stem from maybe something that happened in our lives, or something somebody said to us. Maybe you had an alcoholic parent who told you would never amount to anything. I mean, my half siblings weren't even alcoholics, and they used to tell me that. And I'm really proud of where I've gotten to on my own, with my own ability to understand guidance and listening and keeping my focus, keeping my focus going forward. And over the last couple of years, it's just become such not an easy thing to do, but to become aware of, you're the most important person. And we all have God in us. So what makes us not so important? What makes us not love ourselves and trust ourselves and have faith? Whatever it is, like, let it go. Just these simple little things, having faith, trusting in ourselves, listening to our inner voice, surrendering to whatever situation that we are not in control of, because we're really not in control of anything but ourselves. Really, it sets you, it makes you kind of step back, and when you retreat like that, is that the right word? Retreat? Okay. it takes the it takes the pressure off the situation, and it gives you that little bit of space for the universe to come in and kind of work its magic and let things happen in a very natural way. And all you really need to do is try it one time.
We don't give ourselves, like, wait a minute, like, give me a minute to just, like, whether you have to collect yourself, like, whatever it is, but it's like the breath, like an inhale, something, just to give yourself this space.
Right. People are afraid to do what's best for them.
Yeah. You're so in a hurry to get to what's going to be.
We're so afraid of what other people are going to think or say, or, you know, you got to think about yourself. And when you're a whole person, which you're a whole person anyway, but when you're whole, centered, really focused on not resisting life on life's terms. You know, people come in with digestive issues, and I go, well, maybe it's not so much a physical thing. You're not digesting life on life's terms. And I know for me, that's been all my life. Like, I never looked at life like other people do. And it was always a tug, and hearing things that weren't so positive, and having to really feel my positivity, if that's a word, in spite of what everybody else was thinking.
Well, too,
now there's like really a place for all that insanity and craziness that people thought I was. It's a real thing. People want to join me now. Well,
yeah.
It's true.
Right, because more and more people are finding the need and finding, well, I'll tell you this, what I have found, you know, there's very few, like, normal. What is normal, right? And so, like, my son called me a hippie, for instance. Like, why is your thought process different than mine being, like, why is that, why am I a hippie, in other words? Like, being skeptical, it's fine, like, think however you want to think. But you don't have to resist, and, you know, I was actually trying to control the moment with him last night, and he was resisting it at the same time. So we were both in a resistance format, and frankly got nowhere with the whole thing. But, you know, it's good. I think part of it is, you know, find your tribe also, right? So not everybody believes the same thing, and that's fine.
Huge.
It's not their message. And I think, you know, just us joining together too, and Giuseppe over here, you know, we believe and we've experienced. That's the other really key thing, is that we have experienced the joy and the, you know, all the good things of, and being able to talk to somebody else who believes the way you do, and actually help you through those times too. Because, like you said, it's not crazy. Like, there's plenty of room for everybody's thought processes, and more importantly, to find the people that are going to be willing to celebrate with you.
Absolutely.
Because how many people, when you start really experiencing, like when I started experiencing the joy of, wow, this, you know, awakening feeling, you know, then you got somebody calling you a hippie. Well, that's not the case, you know, but I have actually felt real joy, and I want somebody else to feel that with me and to expand on that, you know, and that's to be able to teach it.
And here's, you make a good point, but here's the thing. It's not like we're trying to convince you that we're right, and we are just sharing with you that we really use these ideas, and we really do center ourselves, and we really do let go and let God, and we really do back off and let things take their natural path. And it really has brought us to a place where we really want to share this with you. And it's just been such a phenomenal learning experience, and has really brought peace into our lives, and taught us to really be present in the moment. Present in the moment. And to be able to step back. And when you're talking to people, are you really listening to what they're saying, and paying attention to where they're coming from. So it's not about convincing them that you're right, but really listen to somebody and where they're coming from, and be able to find a common thread that you'd be able to help them to maybe open to another way of looking at what's going on, like with their life, you know, that's not so good. I mean, I'm basically a really happy person. I always have been. I'm very happy and fortunate to say that. Even when times are bad or times are whatever, like, I really am a happy person. And I got back there after a couple of,
Well, you take detours, that's
You
the
know,
life's journey, you know. and
dips
it's
in the
good.
road,
But I think that
potholes,
also helps
more
you
potholes.
know that you do have joy because you saw what that looks like too.
Yeah,
And when people really start going down that rabbit hole of like whatever their turmoil starts happening and resisting the things actually happening, it's good to be able to say, well, what's happening that's good? Because when you can recognize that not everything's going down the rabbit hole with you unless
Right.
you let it or take it with you.
that's right.
Right? But as soon as you can stop that and realize, wait a minute, I'm doing that. Let me surrender to the moment and take the step back. And then I do it on a regular basis. If I start seeing stuff that's going crazy in one direction, I'll be like, all right, hold on, what's the message? And then let me look at something else that is happier, joyful, or
Right.
you know, more, or and be grateful for that particular moment. I'll tell you what, in this year, my life has changed, I don't know, at least a 180 change
Oh my God, at
to
least.
the better, at least.
Yeah.
You know, like everything, my business, my income, my family life, you know, everything. And so to be able to step back and say like, wow, I was able to do this work for myself, a lot of what we already talked about, and I didn't see it in the moment as it was happening, but now standing here truly a year, more than a year later since we
It's
started.
way
really-
over a year now, yeah.
Right. And I can pinpoint definite moments that were really not that great, and
Right.
you know, and where I felt desperation or I felt whatever, and I was able to change that for myself. And that's what I hope that you, first of all, know that it's possible to do.
Right.
And second, like if, you know, maybe not every message is going to resonate, but the ones that do, you know, that's a message for you, and hopefully you take
Right.
that to heart.
And you made a really good point, and I'm going to touch on this before we
Yeah, for sure.
wind up here, but you were saying about, and this is important, we've said this before, surrounding yourself with people
Mhm.
that have like interests.
Mhm.
Think somewhat like you do, that you can grow and expand and evolve with these people who want to learn more. But in the same idea, look around you, because you've chosen family, friends, whatever, because you chose them because you wanted to be able to have a contrast to know what you didn't want to be also. And a lot of us choose friends, a lot of us choose families, siblings, based on we want to be able to have
The experience.
an experience, so we know what we don't want to be also.
Well, and they help you heal those moments that, whenever you feel those triggered moments that you start to recognize, they help you heal whatever
Yes.
you were supposed to heal from the past.
That's
too,
right.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so.
And, you know, we've said this before, you know, take a minute, send love, send forgiveness to 3 people every day that you don't particularly care for. It's a really simple thing. You're only thinking it in your mind. You don't have to go find them and tell them to their face. They never have to know. You're the only one that has to know, because you're the only one harboring whatever you're not surrendering
Releasing it, yeah.
to. And you don't have to live with that stuff. I put a thing on Facebook the other day. It's one of my favorite quotes in the world. Holding on to anger is like
Yeah, I saw
drinking
that.
poison and waiting for the other person to die. Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that? You know? And remember, karma's huge. Karma is huge. And I've really learned, even in just this week, every dog has its day. It does. So walk away knowing you don't have to be resentful. You don't have to worry about getting back at people. Surrender. Let it go. Walk away. God really does. And I'm telling you, I've seen it this week more than once. God really does take care of those and situations. You don't have to even get involved. You don't even have to get involved. So live a life of peace. Let things go. Don't hold all that stuff inside. It's really just not worth it. It'll make you sick. One day, you'll wind up being sick because of what you didn't want to let go of. And the other person or people or whatever don't even know. So surrender all the things that you're not in control of. And really trust and have faith that you're always taken care of. Always, 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 even if it doesn't look like you are. Because the minute you do, that's when you're going to see and feel the peace in here. And that's what's most important in our lives, is to be in a place of peace and really enjoy your life and really be able to feel genuine love. And it's a really wonderful feeling, I think.
I do too.
So thank you everybody for joining us today.
Have a happy and safe 4th of July weekend.
Absolutely, and whoever can be here next week, we'll see you on the 5th.
Or Wednesday.
So we love you. Have a beautiful Wednesday and a beautiful rest of your holiday. Happy 4th of July, everybody.